Hello, everyone. Welcome to Miss Dina's class. My name is Miss Dina. So today we are going to be learning about figurative language, and if you don't know what that means, it's okay. We are going to learn it today. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys here. And while we are looking at the screen, I'm going to show you a bit about figurative language. So hopefully you can see this now. And we are going to go ahead and get started. So, um, we are going to talk about figurative language. And again, figurative language, there are many different types of figurative language in English, but specifically, we are going to talk about similes and metaphors. So let me show you what those are. Before we get started, we need to know what literal language means. And literal language is basically what everyone already knows. So it's saying exactly what you mean. You use words that are exactly defined like what you find in the dictionary. And it's just plain and simple words. So for example, if I am hungry, literally I would just say, I am hungry. And everyone would understand what that means. It just means that I need to eat, right? And so literal language is easy because you don't really have to guess what people are saying or what people are thinking. Figurative language is a little bit different. Okay, so let's look over here. And I want you to look at the following phrases. Number one, please go ahead and read. Good, so the bee is busy. And so this is a bee, right? And when bees are working, it looks like they are busy, very busy. They're doing a lot of things. The shoes are sparkly, and this is like what sparkly looks like. So kind of shiny. If you put it in the sun, it starts to look like glitter, right? And so if you see shoes and they are sparkly, you know exactly what that means, right? Um, the bear is hungry, exactly. So this is a bear, and when a bear wants to eat and they are hungry, they start to go looking for food. Yeah. The pancake is flat, so these are pancakes, and the shape is flat, right? So it's very surface like this, almost kind of like a table, right? And you have here the rock. The rock is hard. Okay, so this is all literal phrases. The bee works, so he is busy. The shoes look sparkly. The bear is hungry. The rock is hard, right? So you know it's a hard feeling. And the pancake is flat. So, how do we change this into figurative language? So the first thing we're going to look at here are um, these phrases. So again, we're still looking at a bee. We're still looking at shoes, a bear, pancakes, and a rock. But let's look at the phrase, and why don't you go ahead and read each one for me? Okay, good. So busy as a bee. Now, before we said a bee is busy. This one is a little bit different because it says busy as a bee. So if I say, my mom is busy as a bee. What do you think that means? Okay, good. How about if I say these shoes sparkle like diamonds? What do you think that means? Okay, good. How about if I say I am hungry as a bear? What do you think that means? Okay, and flat as a pancake. If I say this cardboard is flat as a pancake, right? Or if I see a box on the street and someone goes with the car on top of it, I would say that box is flat as a pancake. What do you think that means? And hard as a rock. Okay, so what do you think hard as a rock means? And let me give you an example. If I want candy, let's say I want to get a bubblegum candy, and the bubblegum candy has been in my car for a long time, and I eat it, I can say this bubblegum candy is hard as a rock. So what do you think that would mean? Okay. And so these are a little bit different. In the previous one, we saw The bee is busy. The shoes are sparkly. The bear is hungry. The pancake is flat. The rock is hard. And so these ones are using not is, but things like as, like, and things like that. And so here is an example of figurative language. And these are specifically called similes. Okay? And so similes are when we make comparison of two different things. And we use to compare these two things with words like or as. So for example, we said here busy as a bee. So we're not saying the bee is busy. We are saying someone is busy as a bee. So for example, if I say my mom is busy as a bee, I'm saying my mom is so busy, it's like how bees are working all the time. They always look busy. And so if I say my shoes sparkle like diamonds, I am saying that my shoes are so bright and so shiny that they kind of look like how a diamond would look. You know, when you have a pretty ring in the sun, it sparkles. And even if I say I'm hungry as a bear, right? I'm using as because I am not a bear. We are two different things, but I am hungry as a bear. So just like a bear is hungry, I feel the same way. I'm looking for food and I need the food. And so this is when we use similes. We are making direct comparisons, but using like or as. And just like these examples that I have here, we have some other examples like her eyes are as blue as the sky. So I'm using as, right? And I'm comparing her eyes because they're very blue and how the sky is very bright blue. That's how I would use a simile. Same thing with the pizza is as hot as fire. When you eat pizza right away and it's so hot, it's like you are eating fire. So this is another simile. She is like an angel, right? So what do you think of when you think of angels? We think of them as sweet, caring, strong, kind, taking care of people, right? And so we think she is like an angel is someone who is sweet and kind and taking care of people, like how angels are. And even if you like Shrek, he uses similes by saying ogres are like onions, right? Have you ever seen Shrek? And if you have, what do you think he means by ogres are like onions? Okay. And so these are similes. Next, we have metaphors. And metaphors are a little bit different. Here, metaphors are comparing two different things like similes, but here we don't use like or as. We are making comparisons that are not direct, right? And they describe something by saying it is something else. And even in here, this girl is saying, it's a metaphor, you potato with eyes, right? And so she's kind of telling us that this person looks like a potato, right? And so here are some examples of some metaphors. We will go through them together. And I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Let's read them together. And then after you read them, let's talk about what do you think they mean. Okay. And so these are examples of metaphors. So let's do a practice. Okay. Let's look at the poem. I want you to practice reading the poem so that I can listen for your pronunciation and see how well you're reading and what I need to correct if we have any mistakes. So we're going to read first. And while you are reading, just kind of think about what kind of similes and metaphors you might see. And after we finish reading, I'm going to have you work for just a couple of minutes and I want you to say, how do you know the example that you found is a simile and what do you think it means? How do you know one of the examples that you found is a metaphor and what do you think it means? And why do you think writers use similes and metaphors in their poem? Okay, so how do you know this is a simile? How do you know this is a metaphor? These are for sure correct answers, right? But when you are explaining what a simile means, when you are explaining what a metaphor means, and when you are explaining why do you think the writer uses these are more opinion and everyone's opinions are going to be a little bit different, right? And so I want us to talk about what are some options of what these things could possibly mean. Okay? So let's go ahead and read this, and I'm going to listen for your pronunciation. And now I'm going to give you some time for you to answer these questions. Let's do about 5 minutes. Find some similes, find some metaphors. How do you know this is a simile? How do you know this is a metaphor? And explain what do you think it means. And we will talk about it together after 5 minutes. Okay? And now we're going to finish off with this after we have explained what it is that we know for similes, what it is we know for metaphors. And then next class, we're going to do something a little bit different. And we are going to listen to a very popular song by Katy Perry called Firework. And in this song, there's a lot of similes and a lot of metaphors. So first, I'm going to show you a video, and in this video is going to have the lyrics on the video with the song that is going to be playing. So first we're going to listen, then we're going to look at some vocabulary, and then I'm going to give you the paper that's going to have the lyrics so we can look for similes and metaphors and find examples. But that's going to be in our next class. So I will see you next week. Have a good day, and thank you for joining my class, and I hope you enjoyed it, and let's practice similes and metaphors at home before we come back and continue again with Katy Perry's song, Fireworks.